Hi everybody, Daman Mehta here, and thank you for again joining me on my journey as I go through my favorites list on fanfiction.net. We're up to September of 2009, so hopefully soon enough I'll be able to actually get into the 2010s, so we'll be actually getting into the decade that just ended. But anyway, let's start with Big Human on Campus by Black Dragon 6. So this is a Ranma crossover with Rosario plus Vampire. If you've seen any of the videos previously, you know I don't know much about Ranma lore. I don't know much about Ranma. I didn't watch the anime. I didn't read the comic or anything. Rosario plus Vampire, though, I did see the first season, so I at least know that. And this makes a lot more sense than you might think it would. So this takes place after Ranma fights with Saffron and blows up a mountain, so he gets expelled from his normal school and then gets an invite from Youkai Academy, and he just fits in so well with all of the craziness that goes with with monsters, which hey, maybe he fits in as a monster. And it starts at the same time as canon for Rosario plus Vampire, so he ends up becoming a freshman with Tsukune and all the shenanigans start happening. But also because he's there and helps mitigate the stuff, we see a much different shift where some things get skipped completely, and also the craziness of some of the teachers who've been crossed over as well. We get a couple Sailor Moon people, Richard from the webcomic Looking for Group as an undead warlock is there, and it's all just super fun. The shenanigans are great. The running gag of nobody believing that Ranma is a human because of all the shit he can do is really funny, and all the stuff that he keeps undercutting himself by whenever he does it is great. I really enjoyed the story. I like the fights, the humor, everything. Character dynamics are all enjoyable. I think if you liked either of the source materials of Ranma or Rosario plus Vampire, you will enjoy this, and it's going to stay on my list. So going from that, we go to MGILF by personazero, which is basically Marvel Girl I'd Like to Fuck. And it's just a collection of one-shots where Ranma... not Ranma. Oh my god. This is Naruto. Sorry. So this is a one-shot collection where Naruto ends up meeting a Marvel girl, random girl each time, like Rogue, Surge, various other ones. And basically they meet, they interact for a bit, and then they have sex. So if you just want some smut, go ahead. This is fine. Take it. It's what you want. Otherwise, don't. It's not even funny in the sense of the Naruto is dating who was. Those were at least very comical, but also they didn't focus on the sex. This one is very much just, hey, they meet. Let's make up a small, plausible interaction for them, and then have them fuck. And if you want that, go for it. Otherwise, safely skip it. And yeah, it's gonna fall off my list. Now we go to Haruhi Suzumiya with Worst Day Ever by Sharper Than the Sword. And this is a really small fic where the doctor from Doctor Who just shows up and, Kyon just does not want to have it. And is because if he gets found out, Haruhi's going to blow up the universe. And everybody is great in this. Kyon's descent into exasperation is great. Koizumi, Mikuru, and the Yuki are all really fun. Surya is great. I love everybody in this. It's so much fun. Really short. Great for a laugh. It's gonna stay on my list. Now we go to One Piece. One Piece. Oh man, I tried watching One Piece a while ago. When I say a while ago, God, it might be 10 years ago at this point. I got into it. I was like, I'm gonna watch it, and I started, and I got through the first season. I got through 60 episodes, and they just reached the grand line when I stopped. And at that point, there were only 600 episodes, so I say only. I'm sure it's reached past 1,000 at this point, but God, I couldn't. But like, I've read a bunch of fanfics. I enjoy One Piece, and this one is sorry, I didn't even say the name. This story is The Boy with Hockey by Donald Graham, and so hockey is like a superpower thing in One Piece, and Luffy does unlock it very, very late. Like, I think he gets it basically right before there's a time skip, but that's like way in the grand line, like way past where I started. So here it's like, oh, when he's like, before he even starts his journey, he unlocked it and had a bit of training in it. Okay, fine. Aside from that, there's really nothing different with this story. It just seems like it's following canon, and even though this stops right basically at the same point I stopped watching, like right before they really get to the grand line, and he even gets 2 new crew members, it doesn't really feel substantially different in any way, and he, like, it just feels, you know, very generic, and it still feels like it's just running through canon, and we don't really get to see the impact of the hockey, especially on the fights that would actually be interesting, because we still are only in the East Blue, where Luffy just owns everything even before he had hockey, so it's functionally not different here. I just found it uninteresting, and you could safely skip this one. I'm just gonna fall off my list. Going back to Naruto now, we have It's for a Good Cause, I Swear, by Sarah1281. And basically it's a time travel fic where all of Team 7 go back in time. They arrive at different points. They're like, Kakashi shows up when he was like a little bit before he was going to lose his eye. Naruto shows up before the Uchiha massacre. Sasuke shows up a year before canon was going to start, and then Sakura shows up on the day of team assignments. And they were all into a very different world, because it turns out they all end up in the same universe, and so all the changes that the previous people have made start echoing forward, and it's really fun, really laid back. You know, this is there's no hurry, because they don't do it because they were worried. They're just like, hey, my life was shit, we found a time travel school, let's do it, maybe it'll be better this time around. And you know, everybody's confident that they can handle everything, so it's not an issue. So it's very, very relaxed feeling, and they're just like getting digs at each other and just, you know, working things around. I really liked it. The humor, I felt, really worked. That laid back atmosphere really made this a fun stroll through, like, just fun time lane. Simple, fun, and this is gonna stay on my list. More time travel now with Time Paradox by Sam Jazz. Final Fantasy VII this time. Again, this is actually similar, where like, it's not like it was a terrible future. I think now Cloud's having fun, gotten over his issues, and now he's just like, yeah, I'm cool, I'm awesome, I'm sleeping with Tifa, she's great. And it's like, that attitude alone is okay, that's great. A Cloud that actually likes his life, awesome. And he gets sent to an alternate universe, back to the start of the game, where everybody else is way different. Like, if you like Final Fantasy VII at all, I think you would really enjoy this. It doesn't really it gets about halfway through, it gets to like Disc 2, but it gets to like the start of Disc 2, but it doesn't finish, which I'm saddened by. But like, the personalities of everyone here are freaking crazy. Like, I mean, yeah, you could say there's some stereotypes, but just the juxtaposition of them to original canon is so great. Like, we get like Rasta, Barrett, Scooby-Doo, Red 13, Eris, who apparently the original language of the ancients was violence, so whenever she talks, she also like throws knives and shit at you. It's great. I love all the characters here, and you get like, some people because of Cloud's, you know, foreknowledge, people get to live. Like, all the rest of Avalanche gets to stay around, so we get to see Jesse, who is like afraid of everything all the goddamn time. Biggs, who is apparently John McClane's son, and like things like that. I love this story so much. I had a great time with it. It's gonna stay on my list. Okay, last one for this video is Through Another's Eyes by Neurotica. And this is a sequel to a fic that I talked about in the last video, called Through the Cupboard. This one starts a little bit after that, where Harry's waking up in the hospital and because of the events that happened, and then he goes back to Hogwarts. Well, meanwhile, all the adults are still like trying to figure out stuff and like fighting the Shadow War against Voldemort, who's still doing guerrilla tactics. There's some interesting bits that pop up, and we get like a lot of drama gets created around like, is there a traitor, or like misinformation getting thrown around, people getting kidnapped, things like that, shady stuff that would actually happen in a Shadow War, which I think is a bit interesting. And then there's also a plot point that shows up where like Harry can start talking or hearing stuff that's going on in his original dimension. Sadly, it's incomplete. It doesn't really explore a lot of these points before it stops. And I really didn't care about these characters. The first fic I thought was perfectly serviceable, but it never really grabbed me. And since it's a continuation of that, and I wasn't just as invested as I should be for these things. I don't think there's anything bad. I think again, this is perfectly fine, middle of the road stuff, but that's not going to be enough to stay on my list. So yeah, there we go. That's it for this week. It's been a while, but that's 7 more stories off my list read through. Thank you so much for watching. There's links. All these stories are links in the description down below. If you like this video, please leave a like. If you think I'm an idiot or say I'm completely wrong about a story, please leave a comment and telling me that. And thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.